What's happening, everybody? So I just got done working with a student with this technique and had some good results, so I get to piggyback right off of that and make some videos about this stuff. So if you want to follow along with me, we're going to talk about how to use this to get into mixed voice and how to find mixed voice and breath control, etc. And it's going to be great. We're all going to, have great success and get laid. I don't know. Everybody shut up. I'm going to sing stuff. All right, here we go. Weirdest intro ever. Sorry about that. So that was me opening a door in the thumbnail. Running out of thumbnail ideas, folks. The creaky door technique is something a lot of teachers use. It's a way of using vocal fry and the cry technique and different things to move into mixed voice. Too many people are thinking about mixed voice as this like combination of chest and then it's just your voice is going to be a monstrous thing. And nope. It's going to be a smaller, tinier thing that you're not used to using, not used to accessing, or maybe you are, but you just didn't know that that's what it was. So first out of the gate, if we start off by making these vocal fry, creaky door noises. Right there, I am going into mix. My chest voice is being mixed with my head voice, therefore I'm not thinking about my bridge or anything like that, and I'm combining both of those coordinations together. I'm not going ah and flipping, I'm just making a stupid noise. I'm actually bridging the whole way up into flageolet if you want to get into that realm of thinking and experimenting with those things and stuff. But either way, just by making those sounds. Thank you, that is the end of the video. Anyway, so no, we're going to go through this a little bit. The key and the goal here, again, as I keep trying to say, is that let's not think about chest voice and foundation and breathing and support and placement. Let's not think about all that shit. Let's think about these things as fragmented different parts of the voice that we're going to learn how to kind of use a little bit, even if it's just in terms of sound, not singing songs, and then try to learn how to mix them together so that it can kind of combine together. So again, we're just making sound. No support, no effort, no this doesn't badass enough. And yes, I will give you some examples of how we take this ridiculous tiny sound and start moving it into some forms of badassery. But we're not there yet. So again, do these sounds with me a little bit again. Female, male, you got to start in chest, move up into head. But just making creaky door sounds. Not leaking air. That's not what a door sounds like. And I hope it's not in your house or your fucking house is haunted. The squeakier you can make it, the better. When I get to that squeakiness, I'm actually using even less air. In a sense, I'm compressing more, but I don't want you thinking too much about like compressing and choking yourself off. The squeakier you can make it, the better. Now, hopefully you're having a little bit of success with that. The goal here is to be able to sustain these notes outside of your typical chest voice range and start to recognize that you are, in some weird coordination possibly that you're not used to, sustaining these notes in a quiet, concise, chord closure-based way, and then trying to learn how to put support under them so that it's not just you going, you could be mine, which was the song we were just working on. So let's go about it like this first so I can talk a little bit more about the anatomy of the voice and how this is kind of working. Again, I've talked about this plenty of times. We have chest voice down here. The mixed voice thing and the mixed voice musculature that we're entering into almost feels like another set of vocal cords. It's a totally different kind of coordination that does not exist here as much as it exists here. That's why nasality and all these other things enter into the equation to help you kind of get there, because you're starting to not think from down here, you're starting to think, If you watch me really closely there, which could be a good or bad thing, you actually would have seen my body adjust to be able to grab a hold of that sound for just a split second. So I went from So one thing you'll notice is that I started to pull my head down. Like that, these baby bitchy cry sounds are starting to move me back into my body like this and drop my head so that I can have better access up into my head voice and my nasal range, etc. Anyway, just an interesting thing to note. Keeping our head down or learning to pull our head down as we go higher is key, is a good thing. It's opening the throat up Anything that goes like this will probably continue to extend out this way because you're going to try to use these muscles to pull the voice forward, to pull your vocal cord folds like this out this way, and that's all bad. Anyway, here we go. We're going to start exercising this, okay? We're going to start in chest. So we're going to be starting to make a limited small amount of air by using a glottal stop or compression. We're going to make a compression. My piano is not on. There it is. So I'm going to be down here, for men at least, and males. Oh, straight up chest voice. Not supported, not singing, whatever. Oh. Now I'm going to start limiting that airflow. Oh. Again, if you grew up in the golden age of, Looney Tunes and shit like that, good cartoons, you would remember the Elmer Fudd. Oh, this is very similar to that. Oh, but we're literally just kind of limiting the airflow down here. Not too much pressure. I don't have any fucking neck veins popping out or anything, but I'm just starting to limit that amount of air. So start thinking about that like a tube running up into the voice like this. Oh, and you're starting to kind of squeeze it off down here, right where your vocal cords are. Now, as we continue to take that small channel of air, it's going to become an even smaller tube, a smaller channel of air straight up behind where the soft palate is, and we're going to start shifting it over to a brattier, bitchier nasal space. So I'm going to go, oh. If I fall out of that space, you can tell immediately. I'll start to leak air. It'll sound like there's a hole in the hose. So you can kind of hopefully tell. It's almost like a funnel technique. Everything's being funneled into this space. But if I go any of that, I start to come apart. The tube, the compression, everything's lost. So we have no breath, no extra breath, no air, no hissing, nothing like that. It's just shifting, just like the creaky door. But again, we're trying to process it from chest first. So if you can start to make those noises, I want to start sustaining some of those noises. Let's come way up here to over top of a typical baritone bridge. This is G4. It doesn't matter. But if we can go... Oh, very nice and tiny. Oh, again, I'm not going and losing all my vocal cord closure. Let's make it even whinier and bitchier. Maybe your version of it isn't as relaxed sounding as mine. Notice each time that I'm gliding myself up and down, that's to remind myself vocally that I'm starting in chest and I'm not perpetuating this idea of flipping and trying to navigate that. I'm gliding up and gliding back down. Excuse me. There's a really squeaky door version. How about the next one? I hope you can see how little effort I'm using and how not a lot of effort is required to make these sounds. The best thing about this is if you can start making these sounds, you can start to get a handle on what mix feels like, and then you can start testing out, just like a car. You can start putting the RPMs to the test and seeing with support, like how, okay, can I get this louder? What does it feel like if I get it louder? What does it feel like if I start to enunciate through it? Either way, let's keep this going. We're going to approach that bridge. Let me turn my piano down. It's probably already too loud. If I go... right there, even in a shitty way, going from chest into that space. Perfect for a baritone if you're like me. Missed the note. One of the key takeaways again is using less and less air. If you're using more and more air, Notice your physicality in the mirror. If any of that stuff's happening, it's all going to shut you down. The jaw needs to open. We're elongating the vocal tract. So underneath this, you can always try O to oo. Oh, but let's keep making creaky door noises. So we have that first note in chest. Oh, I see what you're doing there. Let's keep it going. And once again, I'm not supporting. Now that's sitting right between my physical chest bridge and head voice bridge right there. Weird wording. If you have trouble with that, you might be sitting too far down here and have too much of a distance to travel. Remember, this is just like a resonance elevator that's moving up and down in the body. You need to let the voice go where it wants to go. Is about right here for me. Even if you do it badly, is right there if I'm doing it poorly. I can still feel that my voice is sitting right there. So that's right where my physical bridge is. If I make it creaky as shit, it gets easier and easier. Sounds like an old witch or something. So I hope that's working for you. Now, again, let's take this and try to sustain it and just start pushing outside of the realm of this. But I got to tell you one more time, if you can do these sounds and you can make these, start singing through that and learning to stay in that pocket. Start recognizing the second that you leave that pocket. And I think almost always the jaw, almost always the chin and the under neck, all this shit almost always wants to kick in and it pulls you out of that space. That's why a lot of times if you see me singing difficult songs, it looks like I'm not singing anything because everything's being pushed and forced into a space in my head that has nothing to do with this. You could be mine and your way out of line is all just happening just like that, just like what we're doing. So now, let's go right here. Actually, let's go over a typical baritone bridge. If you can find that noise, that's terrific. Now we're going to try to start putting support under that, but we're also going to be noticing that the throat wants to get a little bit bigger to accommodate for that pressure that we're pushing up under that. So we're trying to hold on to the pocket on the top. It feels like a triangular shape, like a teepee almost. That's going to be our new bridge, our new thing to push into, our new hard palate in a sense, because we're above the hard palate right now. But it's going to be a space that we can push into. Now, it's going to sound like this. I'm starting to put a little support into that. Using Now, as we get up here higher, I want you to recognize again, too, that the jaw is not in there at all. Actually, once you leave the realm of your hard palate here and go above, the jaw almost becomes useless unless it's used to help you keep your jaw open and your throat open. So all this is nice and just stupid. I usually refer to it as sex doll face. So up here. You see how I'm just pushing that up underneath? But listen to the top again. It's concise and it's connected. That space does not leave. It's just like that. I hope this makes some sense. Lastly, you can try to put words through it. I would refer to you to do sounds first, like ma. So we were doing a Guns N' Roses song in the lesson I was talking about with my friend Paul. We were doing You could be mine, but you're way out of line, or whatever. But instead of way out of line, all that, I'm going to go ma, 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 ma. So I'm using ma, and then I'm going to try to put the words back in. You could be mine, but you're way out of line. And you hear I'm just keeping my voice tiny there, and I can keep getting warmed up and pushing into it. But last thing I'll say, you're jumping into this every day, and I had to tell my student this as well. This needs to be warmed up. This is a stretching exercise. All of this is stretching the vocal cords. So you can't just jump into and expect perfection out of your voice or power or volume. We get into these spaces so that we kind of get to know what's working, what's not, what's stretched out, what feels right. Then we start pushing under it, again, just like an RPM gauge, but think about it like a cold car. If you push into it a little bit too much, you start pulling apart, you start coming out of that pocket. Your placement starts to move and dissipate and not be where it should be, which is back. So keep that in mind and give yourself some time to warm up into these things, and then try to see how much volume you can get. And you're always going to find the precipice there of like, I'm going a little too hard, I'm starting to leak air, I'm starting to, et cetera, et cetera. But there's a place with this, and most of the time mixed voice is a little bit quieter than regular voice, so keep that in mind as well. I hope this does something for you. I hope it helped. I hope your family is just going to love hearing you walk around the house making these horrible noises. Thank you very much.